So you're watching this video now and you're probably wondering, why should I care about my mental health and how is this even relevant in the boardroom? As board members, the most important function you play is around steering the ship, setting the strategy, and making really important and difficult decisions. And often in today's society and the modern world, you are constantly dealing with complex problems where there is no clear answer. You're dealing with how do you attract good talent and retain them. You're dealing with the complexity of the financial and operational systems. You're dealing with the health and safety of your people. And in all those contexts, there requires a robust discussion where you have to be present and in a good state of mind to be able to have those discussions. And that's where having a positive mental health really manifests. So if I just get you to think back on one of your previous board meetings, and on that day where you might potentially have been really tired because you didn't have a good night's sleep, or maybe you were juggling personal family stuff, or maybe your own professional work was really stressful. And when you were in that boardroom, were you able to be present? Were you truly able to listen to the information being provided to you? Were you able to have robust discussion with everyone else? Those are how, when you're not in a good mental state, that really affects your ability to perform as a board member. It's really important in those moments for you to actually proactively make sure that you are keeping your mental health in a positive state. So these are things like ensuring that you are sleeping well, ensuring that you are emotionally aware, you're building those self-awareness and how you are interacting with others in terms of how that manifests in your mental health. The other thing that makes it really important is that you set the tone of whether well-being is truly prioritized as an organization. If you are living and breathing the culture, you are behaving the actions that you want to see in the organization, that is the most powerful way in which you will create the type of culture that you want to see in the organization. So by you prioritizing your mental health, that ensures you've given permission to not only your fellow board members, but also to the CEO and the employees that works within them. Together, that is what creates a resilient organization. That's what creates the ability to have agile decision making that is responsive to this fast-paced world that we have today. So how do you know then when you're not in a good mental health state? There are actually three ways in which we look at this. The first way is around your emotions. Are you impatient? Are you feeling frustrated when you're having discussions with your fellow board members? Do you find yourself irritated by what is presented in the meetings? So if you find that you're not in a calm emotional state, that is usually an early sign that you are not in a good mental state. The second one is around behaviors. These are often easier to see in others and in yourself. So this manifests as, for example, you're not sleeping very well, and then therefore you're feeling tired all the time. This manifests as you might not find the things that you used to find pleasurable anymore. It might manifest as you losing your appetite. These are all behaviors that signal that you're not in a good mental state. And finally, as a third category, is very much around your thought processes. Are you able to think through the problems clearly? You find yourself maybe not being able to focus, not being able to have the capacity to follow through important discussions that are rolling back and forth between board members. If you're not in a good mental state, you're not able to have clear thoughts, or you might find yourself having negative thoughts that might distract you from the meeting at present. So often we have this assumption that someone with poor mental health is just someone sitting in the corner, crying all the time, or having suicidal thoughts. Yes, that manifests for a cohort of people, but actually there are so many more signs that will indicate that you're not quite right and you might need a little bit of extra help. So if anything that I've just said to you resonates with you and you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, that sounds like me. I might need some extra help. don't worry, you're not alone and there is help available. So we want to acknowledge that the stigma does exist, and so it's very hard for you to maybe feel that you can reach out to either your friends or family at this stage, or even your fellow board members or your board chair. So you might feel that you want to just self-help yourself, figure out what's going on first. So there are tools like Clearhead where you can anonymously reach out for help and then figure out what are the available tools in which to kind of work through the issue. Of course, there are limitations to these digital apps, and being able to reach out for professional help is also really important. So these are registered professionals who are very equipped at seeing and supporting you with the issues that you're dealing with. Often it may feel like the issue you're dealing with is unique to you, but often there are others who have experienced it before. And so professionals like psychologists, like counselors, you can find them on Clearhead, or you can see your GP to be able to get a referral to the public system for support as well. Okay, now that we have gone through why it's important for you to have positive mental health in the boardroom, how to identify when you are needing a little bit of extra help, and then where to go for those extra help. Now you can think about, how does this actually look like in the boardroom? The first thing is creating a culture in which you as an individual and your fellow board members are actually able to say, hey, I'm not feeling so good today. And so really setting the scene before the board meeting to flag to others to be aware that you're not in the greatest mental state, so that they can support you and also not put too much pressure. Remember, often as a board member, you're usually only having board meetings once a month. So if you're having an off day, that's 10% of the meetings that you might have, if on average you have 10 board meetings. So firstly, it's really important to set the scene. The second is being able to check in with people. If you notice, for example, one of your board members is not maybe their usual self, they're more quiet than usual, maybe you can either privately reach out to them and check in with them if they're okay during the tea break, for example, or making sure that you call on them and allow them to feel included when they're withdrawing. And finally, as the board chair, you play a very important role in setting the tone and making sure that the boardroom is psychologically safe for people to speak up and share and create that awareness. So always be looking and monitoring how the board members are interacting, because how your board members respond to a board member that demonstrates vulnerability enough to say that they are not in a good space will then provide the precedence on whether other board members in future feel that they can safely speak up if they were ever in that situation. And so I hope with all these little tips, you can feel that you can create the type of boardroom that you want, that ensures that all board members are thriving and conveying a psychologically safe and positive well-being space that then filters down to the organization and all the employees that work within them. Thank you.